Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and not in that order. This is Argos Row, House Scorpio, and you're tuned in to G.R.D. Now, I know I didn't post yesterday, right? And, well, I was just completely lethargic, and I really don't know why. There's no obvious reason as to why, but if I had to guess, it's due to mental fatigue of researching this topic that we're going to be talking about today, and the fact I had to take my mom in to surgery today, like at 4 o'clock this morning. So that could be another reason too. Staying up and dealing with this. But that's family. You deal with it, or you try to at least. Anyways, it's been a while since I've invoked some scientific inquiry outside of the horoscope readings. That is in this podcast. I think it's time to bring that back into focus. The topic of the conversation, or excuse me, the topic for today would be, well, let me preface it saying about how it came about. It happened during the twilight hours of. Sorry, there's this old Datsun that just drove by. Thought he was going to hit my car. Um, the topic of conversation today came about during the twilight hours, and it led me to this thought: what kind of human are you? Diurnal, nocturnal, or crepuscular? Now, for those who don't know, that just means that you operate during the day, or are you a night owl, or are you someone who can blend between the twilight? This led to further inquiry, obviously, and it led to more questions about, well, what chemicals does or doesn't the human body produce during these cycles of day or night or twilight? How has the time cycle of day, night, twilight impacted this study? Me reading the horoscopes and whatnot. I've done three types of perspectives on it so far, where I do one, or I did not a complete set, but I did intervals of reading it before my day starts, reading it at the end of my day, towards the evening, not reading it at all, and now I have to add a fourth one to this of how it impacts the study overall. Just reading it at a time of day. I didn't really take that in consideration. But anyways, the last part of it was, does that invoke a bias upon information received or given? Now, see, these questions, and there are more, I'm sure, are some of the factors that I have to calculate into this 1 month study of using horoscopes as a measure of accuracy of predictive events upon one's life. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and read into what the Wikipedia says about diurnal, nocturnal, and crepuscular. Here we go. Diurnal, meaning daily. Diurnal cycle with any pattern that occurs daily, or diurnality, the behavior of animals and plants that are active in the daytime. Diurnal phase shift is a phase shift of electromagnetic signals, and diurnal temperature variation, a cycle of daily temperature change. For astronomy, diurnal arc, the time expressed in the right ascension, that it takes a planet, I guess it's supposed to be etc., to move from its rising to a setting point. Diurnal motion, the apparent motion of stars around the Earth. And then lastly is astrology. Diurnal chart, a chart for a given date based on the natal chart. Diurnal planet, a planet in a sect for which the sun is above the horizon. And diurnal sign, a sign of zodiac. Now, if I recall correctly, the zodiac, let's say Scorpios, we have two types of signs. We have the sun sign and the moon sign. Now, we know we already are a fixed sign, with water being our element. Now, with that being said, there is a dualistic principle to that. That dualistic principle being sun and moon sign. I believe I'm sun sign. I'll probably research it a little bit further, because I have been going based on the general readout of what the Scorpio daily and finance says. I hadn't really looked into what the daily sun sign says, or the daily moon. So there's just new variables I'm adding into this. Yes, and that's part of the experiment. There's going to be new variables I have to add in, and that's what's making this more exciting. Anyways, so diurnal. I wonder, for those listening, do you feel that you're diurnal? Do you feel like you operate best during the day? Do you have your better thoughts throughout the day? Are you more productive during the day? Anything that you can think that would be a benefit to your life, do you find it most, not prevalent, I don't want to say prevalent. Yeah, I mean, just keep it simple. Do you find it most beneficial to do all of your daily living throughout the daylight hours? And that can be anything. You know, your job, your career, your personal activities. Again, I'm kind of rambling now. I just want to get that point across. It's like, are you better as a day walker? Kind of like Blade, but hopefully you're not vampires. But are you better suited for the daytime hours? Now, granted, I got to look into the biology of this. Are humans, well, naturally, because we have sight, we're better off in the day because we can see predators or we are predation on other things like plants and other animals because of our sight, because we can utilize daylight to see for miles. Well, I don't want to say miles and miles, depending on your actual eyesight, but we are able to see things that the sunlight provides for us, so we can either defend ourselves or feed ourselves. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it for diurnal. But I was making a point about what the general, I guess not, yeah, I'll say general human, general human species, like the majority of us, I would say, are diurnal. And that's not great science, I understand that, just to make a blanket statement, but it's just an observable fact that there's a lot more activity throughout the day than there is at night. And by activity, I just mean just daily things like working, eating, reproducing. Well, I guess reproducing would be more of a nocturnal activity. But again, there's even variables to that. But let's just say the generalities, like getting up and starting your day, whether you work or not, or you teach, or just still working, whatever. I would say the vast majority of the human species, the human race, would be classified as diurnal. Without even, sorry if my seatbelt's touching the microphone. Without even looking at a serious biology report or anything of that nature. Now, the next on the list, of course, is nocturnal. Now, before I read this Wikipedia, I'm going to post all the links, of course. I'm going to post the links. Before I even read this, I got to say, like, I used to be the night owl, for real. I would get employment at night. I would love being out amongst the stars all night. Just as soon as, I guess, the sun set, because even at sunset, there's still some daylight left. It's considered dusk. But when that nightfall hits, oh man, I would truly come alive. Like, I would just feel, and even now, I even though I know I'm more of the crepuscular type, I still enjoy the nightlight a lot more. One, because there's hardly any traffic anymore. People are just tired from working all day. Two, it's just a different animal that comes out at night. It's beautiful, just like the daytime. It's beautiful. That's why I'm more crepuscular. I know that now, but I definitely can say, before I realized what type of human I was as far as daytime, nighttime, twilight, nocturnal was the way to go for me. But anyways, let me pull up the nocturnal read and we'll get on to it. Now this is interesting. There's a lot more information on nocturnal Then there is Diurnal. I mean, it even pulled up a picture of an owl first. That was like the first thing it did. Anyways, there's no breakdown like how the diurnal was. Strange. So I'm gonna pause it right here. I'm gonna try to find a better link that can break down nocturnal like the diurnal Wikipedia pages. So stand by. All right, picking up where I last left off after that short intermission. The nocturnal version of the Wikipedia page is not the same as the diurnal one. So formatting and information is not going to be read in the same format. I was looking for continuity, but you know, it's Wikipedia. It's edited by anyone and everyone. That means scholars and viewers like you or whoever. But anyways, some of the things I've noticed about operating in the night, it invokes a certain thought processes. Now, there's a couple of caveats to that. Now, when I say working at night, I mean, I guess it'll be somewhat like an artificial night because very few places have no light pollution. I don't know if you've noticed in your city in your night sky where there may be an amber glow or um, I know some places have replaced bulbs so it's not amber color anymore. It might be white, which means it's just LED, but it's still it's still it's still nightlife, but it's not true nightfall. Because true nightfall, uh, I'll give you a couple of perfect examples that I've experienced true nightfall. Georgia, South Carolina, even here in California in Death Valley. That is nightfall. Where you, hmm, how do I really bring it home in a in an audio format where you can't see me and you can only feel what I'm telling you. It's like, okay, here's the example of the best way I can paint this for you. And I do implore you go yourself if you have the means to do so. I parked my car on the road naturally, or on the side of the road naturally. I got out. Had I not put my parking lights on, the lights that you turn on when you go into like a parking garage or something, I would have not have found my car if it was just that dark. It was that dark. And then I even tested my own metal a little bit and turned those off. And it was absolutely gorgeous for starters. And I wish you guys could just been there. If you get a chance to go to a national park, try to find an area where it's truly not infiltrated by artificial light. But anyways, it was majestic in a way. Um, where was I going with this? I had a point. I know I was talking earlier. This is what happens when you interrupt your recordings throughout the day. You kind of lose the focus and the energy that went along with it. So this might feel a little haphazard, but this also plays into, I guess, my point about the different chemical imbalances that give off throughout the day. You know, during the day, highly motivated, get what I need to get done. Nightfall comes, you chill, or you go to work, depending on what you're doing. But in this case, it kind of just drew the remaining energy out as far as the energy that started in this podcast. It's not there. And I feel it. And you probably feel it too by listening to this. So how do we fix it? Well, it's not really to be fixed. The day is pretty much gone. Um, so the nocturnal portion is not gonna have a major rant. I'm just gonna post a link of what I have here because it's actually a little bit deeper than what I was anticipating. But I did mention predation earlier about um, diurnal cycles of the day, and this one talks about reproduction, rhythmic behaviors, orientation. You know what's gonna happen? This is gonna be a part two. This is gonna be a part two episode. So I'm gonna label this one. What episode is this? This should be. One second. Let me queue up my studio app here and see what episode this is on. Yeah, because there's a lot. There's a lot more. This is episode 16. So this is gonna be episode 16.1, or episode 16 diurnal. Now we'll just call it episode 16.1, and then I'll put in subtitles diurnal perspective. Yeah, yeah. Because I don't want to keep. I don't want to feel like I'm pandering, or not pandering. What's the word? There's a word for it. Meandering. There it is. On something that I do feel strongly about, but I want the same level of energy to be brought to it. And after being at the hospital all day and dealing with my own problems, I'm just kind of through with it. So we're gonna end it right here. I'm gonna end it with the horoscope. So let's go with our good old pals at astrology.com. Oh boy, here we go. Your emotions are getting more and more intense, and this is a very good thing. Truth will take longer to tell. You'll start feeling very energetic around the middle of the day, right when you need a little push. Delay making big moves until after this energy spurt has arrived. And success, excuse me, and success will be much faster. In your personal life, it is time to plan something silly and fun with friends. Consider something exotic and a bit wild. Skydiving, anyone? Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. I mean, I was interested. We had some guests there at our place who were doing Airbnb, and they went not skydiving, they went paragliding. I think this was called. Yeah, paragliding. Well, either way, they had a glider. So, I don't know, but the emotions are getting more and more intense. I guess I'm not really feeling that part. Overall, I'm not really feeling this one. And see, now I'm starting to think again back to what I was saying earlier on this podcast. I know there's multiple variables involved: food chemistry, exercise, things of that nature. It's just there's so many variables. But we're gonna keep it very, very controlled as much as possible, I should say, by just exploring the daylight hours, taking note, like I did today with the diurnal. Even though this topic came about in the twilight hours, kind of like what I'm approaching now, since it's 23:23. Mm. Yeah, we're just gonna pick that up tomorrow. I don't want to dive too much into it again with this low energy. Let's go to finance. You're going. Sorry, I thought there's advertising that popped up. You're going over a difficult decision like a dog gnawing on a bone. You're even mulling it over in your sleep. Your unconscious mind just won't let it rest. Whether you know it or not, it's downright exhausting. Making a decision once and for all is worth a million. Hmm. I was just talking about how I need to relax on the podcast before this one, and I can feel myself stressing out. Why? It isn't finance. It's not the woman. Yeah, are these the nocturnal emissions? Why am I stressing? And I'm taking into account right now. It's like I'm sitting underneath artificial light and it's nighttime. So I know that has something to do with the circadian rhythm as well. This is getting more and more interesting as the day progresses into night and then the twilight. Yeah, we're gonna pick this up tomorrow with the nocturnal readings and the crepuscular readings. That's gonna do it for this edition of G.R.D. today. And you know what? I think I will call it diurnal since this was a diurnal heavy episode. Yeah. All right, that's it. I'm out. Peace, y'all.